What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? Jeff with your Heel Brothers, back with the next episode of Tar Heel Olympic Spotlight. Hope everybody's had a good week. Weather, bookend weekends of weather. The ice and things, and then the snow. The snow this past weekend that for some areas wasn't what they predicted, including mine. Here in Durham, I got stuck a little bit in that dry slot that was there, and that I think it finally started snowing at like 1 o'clock on Saturday, but it snowed pretty much till midnight. I think we ran up to like 3.5, 4 inches at my house in Southwest Durham. But anyway, it was nice snow, so no ice or anything like that. So we still had ice on the ground. Actually, we still had ice on the ground in the yard in the front. And even our driveway. We've got a long driveway that kind of from the back of the house goes up to the street on a pretty steady incline. So we got that snow on top of that ice. So a little sketchy there, but then anyway, it looked nice, and it was nice powdery snow, so it looked really nice. So hope everybody's safe. Everybody stayed warm. Did not go to the volleyball tournament that I told y'all about last week that I might not be able to record, depending on. We decided. Our club decided not to chance to travel and everything like that, so they didn't cancel the tournament, but a lot of clubs didn't go, so, and they refunded it because of the weather, so we got our money back and try to book a tournament later in the season to make up for this one. But anyway, let's go ahead and get rolling. Like I said, weather played havoc. Weather wreaked havoc between the leftover from the snow or the ice from last weekend and this past weekend that we just finishing up, the snow there. So we had some cancellations and stuff of them things. We'll hit on that. But we did have some stuff going on. I'm going to start with the highlight. So women's tennis comes in. If you remember last week, they had the ITA kickoff. And we actually won that. We won our kickoff weekend section to advance to the ITA Indoor Championships, which actually are going to take place this coming weekend. But between that and the kickoff and the team indoor championships, we had a couple matches going on. Both of them ranked. Friday night, we're number 3 again in the polls this week, ITA polls this week. We took on number 9, NC State. Played them at the Cary Tennis Center. It was a marathon match. I think it started at 6. When I got out of wrestling at like 9:15, 9:20, I actually sat in my truck in the parking deck and waited for the final match to finish before I actually left and started driving. It took a while. It went down to the wire. State actually came out and won the doubles point. And then we fought back and came out with the 4-3 win. So, always good to do. I always want to win anyway, but to beat State, a highly ranked State team, very good State team. If you remember, they've got a doubles team that actually just won the champion NCAA doubles championship this past week, or not this past week, but in the end of the fall winter type area. And of course, Reese Brantmeyer, our number 1 singles player, won the NCAA singles championship. So, and Reese is the number 1 singles player in college right now. And she was the one that clinched the match. Hers was the one that finally clinched it, and it was a 6-4, 6-7, 6-4. So it was a 3-setter, went down to the wire, but she got it done. So, like I said, we lost the doubles point. Reese got the win. Reese got a win. Obi Kajura got a ranked win. Reese's win was ranked as well. Tatum Evans got a ranked win, and Anna Fry, the freshman, just keeps rolling. She got a win. And then Thea Radman and Alanis Hamilton both took defeats. So again, added up 4-3 4-3 victory. That is our 5th straight against state in women's tennis. So always good to be able to run a streak like that. Lord knows we've got other ones that they've got running on us. So we need to get them where we can, right? But that sets up then today as I'm recording. I keep doing that. I'm going to figure out a way to terminology that better so I don't get caught up in it. And I'm probably not confusing y'all. I'm probably thinking about it too much and in my own head, but it is what it is on that Sunday. And they played with the time a little bit because of weather, but we wound up, it was supposed to be, I think, a 3:00 match against number 1 Georgia. In fact, number 1 and defending national champion Georgia in Chapel Hill at the Tuning Tennis Center. Started off at 1:00. Carolina got the doubles point. Very important. You know, we lost it in state, but it sets you up. Then when you've got to win 4 of the 6 singles matches if you lose that doubles point. So a lot of times it's a really, you know, it's a tough road to hoe after that. But we came out on Georgia. We got the singles point there, and got the singles point, or the doubles point, excuse me, and then actually went out and took care of business. Anticlimactic on my delivery there, but got the 5-2 win against Georgia. Again, number 1 team in college tennis, defending national champion, and took them down 5-2. Won the doubles point. Got another clinching win, or another final win from Reese Brantmeyer. She got the clincher there for us yet again. Obi Kajura took a loss. Tatum Evans got a win. Atlantis Hamilton got a win. Anna Fry again took down a ranked opponent. Anna is not ranked yet. Single rankings, when they start coming out a little more of the next 1 or 2, the next one, I would think Anna's going to have to be ranked. She's just taking care of business. And then Thea Radman took a loss, but that gave us a 5-2 win. Again, number 1 Georgia, defending national champion Georgia, and some interesting stats. Now that puts us 6-1 against Georgia in the past 5 seasons. I said it last week when I was talking about this one, how it was coming up. Georgia was ranked number 1, and championships, we've battled them. You know, we've battled them a decent bit in the last few years, obviously, judging by the record that I just gave you, 6-1 over the past 5 seasons. They're always up there ranked. We're always up there ranked. Top couple in the top 2 or 3 in the country. We're always there. Last year we split them 1-1. We beat them in the regular season, and then they beat us in the NCAA championship semifinals on the way to their championship. So, you know, got some revenge on them. Women's tennis 7-0 on the season right now. Got some momentum now going into the ITA indoor team national championship coming up. Again, coming up this coming weekend, starting off. You love to see it. 7-0. With ranked wins over number 14 UVA, number 9 State, and again, number 1 Georgia. So, what else can you say? Just doing really good work. I am going to throw a couple things in here on tennis while I'm at it. There were some weekly ACC weekly honors that went to tennis players from Carolina this past week. Reese Brantmeyer was named ACC Player of the Week on the 27th. So that was Monday or Tuesday, whenever that was. And then Reese and Alanis Hamilton were named the ACC Doubles Team of the Week. So, you know, like the honors, keep the honors rolling. You know, maybe, like I said, you know, keep them rolling. You know, you would think as well as they're playing, we're going to see many more of those this year. So. But yeah, highlight for sure. The highlight of the week was that it's just two stellar wins by UNC women's tennis, just continuing to get the job done. Men's tennis, we're going to roll right into men's tennis. They were supposed to play a doubleheader to open the not to open the season. Sorry, they were supposed to play a doubleheader on Wednesday that got postponed due to the weather. Those are supposed to be rescheduled. At this point, anyway, they're planning on rescheduling. Those are against NC Central and Campbell. Then they rolled in and were supposed to be taking on men's tennis. Was also then that was in Chapel Hill. Men's tennis was supposed to again be taking on another opponent in Chapel Hill, this time Columbia, and that one was just flat out canceled. That was supposed to have been today, and it got canceled. So not looking to, last I heard, not looking to reschedule that one. So, tough week. Like I said, tough week on the schedule in the department of getting some things canceled. There's some other stuff that got canceled later as we run to it. We'll talk about. The weather is what it is, though, right? So, just keep rolling. Transitioning into wrestling. Last week was a bad week, obviously, with another loss to state, which, like I said, is our 13th straight to state. This week we welcomed in, and we actually stayed 11 in the polls in the NWCA coaches poll, stayed number 11. We welcomed in number 14 Pitt on Friday night in Carmichael. Because the volleyball tournament was canceled, I was able to go. Glad for that. But just a disappointing result. Lost 22-9. So out of the 10 matches, we only won 3 of them. None of them were bonus point wins. It was frustrating. I think I tweeted out. I tweeted out something to the effect of, just truly disappointing. Disappointing night on the mat for Carolina. Pitt's always tough. They are. We nipped them last year. In the last match at heavyweight. Nolan Neves took out a higher ranked opponent at heavyweight last year to cinch to clinch the match for us. But Pitt's always ranked. They're always tough. Just disappointing. We had a few efforts that I'm especially disappointed about. Well, one really. And I'm not going to harp on it because wrestling's a tough sport. I know it is. So, I need to see more out of 133. Ethan Oakley's ranked number 19 in the country. It's his second year at Carolina. He's a grad student. I have to say it. I've never been really high on Ethan. Sorry. If he hears this somehow that I'm talking about him, dude, I appreciate the effort and everything, but I don't know. I'm always left feeling like, even on the wins, even some of the wins just aren't all that impressive to me. But there's still time in the season to pick that up. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to run into a guy some nights that just has it better than you. And that's what happened. That's what happened to Ethan. We'll flip the page, turn the page, because we got another one coming up this coming weekend, and we got to take care of business on that one. So, I'm not going to harp on it anymore. Other than say I'm disappointed in the result. I know the coaching staff is too. I know the wrestlers are too. I actually sat the wrestlers that aren't wrestling, usually sit in a particular section, and I always sit for volleyball and wrestling both. If I can buy that ticket, I always buy the tickets right on the front in section 103. And so I got that one then, and the wrestlers didn't like their view where they were, so they actually moved over to where I was sitting in my same section, which is entertaining because they are a trip to listen to during dual meets. So funny. That was fun. That was the fun part of the evening, listening to them and laughing with them and everything that was going on as they were carrying on and everything like that. So, good to see them having fun and rooting on their teammates like they do. They're pretty hardcore with that. So that's always good to see. We did have some ranked wrestlers in the Intermat rankings, and I'll call those out. This was obviously prior to the meet against Pitt, but Tyson Tirakina stayed 15 in the rankings at 125. He was obviously 15 the week before, 15 this past week. Ethan Oakley came in the week at 19 after being 18th the week before. That's at 133. Luke Simcox at 141 had a big upset against State when he was ranked number 17 the previous week. He upset number 12, Ryan Jack. So Luke actually this week moved up to 10th in the rankings. He did not wrestle on Friday night. The match started at the meet started at 149 this particular week, this particular meet. So that roundup came up to basically it was going to end with 141. We couldn't win it at that point, and so the coaching staff decided to give Matthew Botello, who's a freshman, a run at it, and he actually wrestled a really tough match. Lost it 2-0 decision, but he was, he wrestled tough. He's another freshman that, when I saw him in the blue white wrestle offs, I kind of was a little impressed with him. So, he's not going to get a chance in a lot of meets with Luke wrestling as well as Luke is right now. But in certain situations in some of these other tournaments that I talk about, he's going to keep building and getting that experience and everything like that. So anyway, at 157, Laird Root stayed 28th. He stayed 28th. He lost to the number 17 ranked 157 for Pitt, but it was a 4-1 close decision. Bryce Hepner lost at State, got upset at State. He was 10th the previous week. This week he came in at 14th. He got a 4-2 decision against Pitt over the number 33 ranked wrestler at 165. Jake Daly stayed 13th in the rankings at 184, and Jake picked up a ranked win over number 28 ranked 184 pounder for Pitt in a 7-3 decision. So again, and the bummer of everything that came out last week, Nolan Neves, it came out at the beginning of last week, who is heavyweight for Carolina, 285 pounder, was ranked 28th the prior week, is now out for the season due to injury. That sucks. He was the one that clinched it for us against Pitt last year, taking out a higher ranked wrestler in Dayton Pitzer. Just a bummer, man. Just a bummer. So, and that's 2 years now at heavyweight that we've had injuries. Nolan got the chance last year to wrestle because Aiden Guttridge got hurt. And so when Gutty got hurt and was out, that moved Nolan into the spot, and Nolan wrestled really, really well last year, having to come up to speed. You know what? Jacob Levy, who is now stepping in, who's now going to have to step in at heavyweight, he got major decisioned against Pitt, but it was against the number 15 ranked guy, like I said, in the country at that weight. And Jacob's a strong guy. He is a really, really strong guy. I like his future. I like Jacob's future at Carolina. Thrust into action in duels earlier than he would have expected. Let's see how they coach him up. Let's see how he progresses. I think in the long run, he's gonna be another good one. So just something else to pay attention to. But again, turn the page on the loss. Another week, another home duel on Friday night coming up. And we'll talk about that in the stack schedule for this coming week, because it is packed with the action. Gymnastics traveled down to Clemson, South Carolina. It was a ranked match. We came in number 12 in the WCGA coaches poll on the Road to National rankings. Clemson at number 16, and took the loss to Clemson. Clemson scored a 197.025 to our 196.375. So, those 196 scores are good scores. Clemson just was a little cleaner, a little crisper throughout the meet. But we did have two two of the events that we got event titles on, and they were both splits. Jessica Naranjo, Jojo Valahovic split the beam event title for the meet, and Gwen Fink and Kaya Forbes split the event title for the vault. So again, turn the page, good experience, so you'll turn the page on that one. Back in action again. We are back in action in gymnastics again this coming weekend, in fact, and that's going to be a big one. So we'll talk about that towards the end again as we go. Rolling on then to the next competition. Friday, indoor track and field. Went up to Lynchburg, Virginia at Liberty to take part in the Brant Tolsma Invitational, and it was a good day. It was a good day. We got 7 wins in events, multiple top 10 program marks, and pretty much every race had a meet or facility record rewritten. So not just us, but everybody that was participating just did work. Notable finishes. I won't go through them all because again, there's some, but we got women's pole vault, the lower pit pole vault. We had 4th place finish from Peyton Berryman, 5th place finish from Vivian Stovall. Skylar Bowman got 5th in the women's shot put. Got the win. One of the wins was Aaliyah Berry in women's 60-meter hurdles, followed up by a 3rd place finish in that same event from Kalani Witherspoon, a 5th place finish in that same event from Tori Goodson. Colton Sands, 2nd place in the men's mile invite event, which is his time was a number 5 in the NCAA, 3rd all-time time for Carolina. So that's again, Colton's one of those guys in the distance running along the same lines of Parker, Wolf, Ethan Strand from past years. Colton's that next guy. He is that next guy that was always pushing Ethan and Parker in events, and look forward to keep seeing his name there because you're gonna see him at the top in the top spots in those distance events for again cross country, indoor track, and outdoor track when it comes up in the fall. So again, good effort there. Women's mile invite, Reese Dalton came in 4th with a 4th all-time UNC time, number 15th NCAA time. Women's mile, Grace Hanson, 3rd. Men's shot put, Ethan Richter came in 2nd. Excuse me. Women's pole vault invite, Annie Kerr came in 2nd with a 5th all-time UNC height of 4.11 meters. The men's 400 meters won that event, Trevor Pascal. Women's 400 meters, Dalia Martins won that event, so we swept the 400 meters. Women's 800 meters, a 2nd place finish from Maylin Higgins. We won the men's 4x400 meter relay, 2nd place in the women's 4x400 meter relay. I'm running through the list real quick, try not to miss anything. Men's high jump, Kyle Archie won that event for us. Women's weight throw, tell me if you've heard this. Kosi Umarai won that one. I believe that's 4 for 4 now. Won the event last weekend, and won it again this weekend in this particular invitational meet. Had a 3rd place finish in that same women's weight throw by Mackenzie Monty. Men's 3,000 meter invite, Tomer Tarragano came in 2nd with a number 12 NCAA and a 4th all-time UNC time. Men's 5,000 meters, we 1, 2, 3 that we swept podium on that one. Robert Matura took the meet record with his time. Joe Barrett came in 2nd. Jack Bowen came in 3rd. Women's high jump, Tyler Collins, 3rd place finish there. And the women's 3,000 meter invitational, Bryn Brown with a 4th there. Track and field is going to be back in action with a split event this coming weekend. I believe we'll talk about it again, but there's 3 different events. I don't know how they're going to split that. We'll find out obviously as the events run. this coming weekend, and who's participating. Well, we usually send, like, the way it normally goes is from just my experiences of looking at things in the past, is we'll take the field, the throwers, the field event. Field a lot of times will go to one. If they're split like this, you'll have the field athletes go to one event, and then maybe the distance track to another one, and then the shorter distances for the track go to another one. I'm not sure if that's how they'll split it, but that's kind of with three different events this weekend. That's maybe my thought on how that's going to look. We'll talk about it next week, if I'm able to record next week, because we're supposed to have a volleyball tournament again next weekend. We'll talk about that again later. And then rolling into today's action, this would be Sunday's action, I believe, is where we are at now, pretty much. Yep. Rolling into Sunday's action for women's golf. This is the season opener for women's golf. No weather problems there because they're over in Puerto Rico. Purdue is hosting an event in Puerto Rico. Don't know how that happens, but that's what's happening. It's the Purdue Puerto Rico Classic. So it's supposed to be a 3-day event today, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. There's weather coming, I guess. So they ran the first two rounds, the first 36 holes basically of the event. They did today. Carolina's coming in ranked 14th. Women's golf is ranked 14th in the country right now, according to the clipped national college team rankings. And those were just updated this past week. So, and actually men's golf is number 14 too, and they start their season this coming week. But they're ranked 14th as well in those latest rankings. Today we shot the women shot a first round 12 under, a second round 9 under. That puts us 21 under so far after 2 rounds, which is good for second place behind Arkansas by 1 stroke. Arkansas actually comes in as the number 4 ranked team in the country right now. So we're battling with them. That's the third lowest opening round. That 12 under is also noteworthy because it's the third lowest opening round in school history. So women's golf, they won the last event they took part in last year, or in the fall season, which was the Landfall Invite or Landfall Tradition, won that one. So seemed to be just kind of turning the page and rolling with it. Individually, led by Reagan Sutherland, who put up 2 just stellar rounds, 2 stellar rounds. She had a career low, or tied her career low for a 6 under in the first round, and then followed it up with a 5 under. So she's after 36 holes, 2 rounds, she's at 11 under, which is good for 1 stroke behind Arkansas's Megan Schutt. Schutt. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation on her name. Apologies to her. But those, again, nice rounds. 7th lowest round ever by a Tar Heel was that 66. That opening round 66 for her. So just keeps doing work. Between her and Megan Stryker and the others that we roll out, from tournament to tournament, just good work. That tournament should continue today, Monday. Tee off times are supposed to be 7:30 our time. So 7:30 our time, Eastern Standard Time, that is. So we'll look forward to hopefully making up that 1 stroke and pulling off a win there. And again, now back to some of those cancellations I was talking about, things that did not happen that were supposed to happen. Men's lacrosse season opener was supposed to have been today, today. Again, I'm gonna fix that eventually, y'all. I promise. Supposed to be Sunday, this past Sunday at Towson, Maryland, in Towson, Maryland. They are actually, Towson's number 15 ranked in the preseason polls. Carolina, depending on where you're looking at, 5, 8, 6, around those ranges. But due to the weather, program. Both schools announced Friday that that's been canceled. Not expected to reschedule that. So that's going to roll. That's going to roll us into the season opener for men's lacrosse coming up this coming weekend. Had several men's lacrosse related honors and things like that came out this week, like preseason All-American honors, preseason All-ACC stuff, some more of those preseason poll rankings, because there's several different polls. You know, the one I generally follow during the season, preseason, I'll kind of throw a lot of the different ones out there. Once season rolls around for men's lacrosse, the only one I really look at is the USILA poll. And you know, for some of these like baseball is another one. Baseball's another one that has a bunch of polls out there. You know, you've got Perfect Game, you've got Baseball America, you got D1 baseball. You'll learn, for me, baseball, D1 baseball is what I will go by during the season. By the same token, women's lacrosse has a bunch of different ones. You know, USA Lacrosse magazine and the Inside Lacrosse magazine, which are both men's and women's. The one that is specifically women's, kind of like USILA is for men's lacrosse, IWLCA is for women's lacrosse, and that's the one during the season that when I start talking about rankings, I'm going to quit talking about all the different ones and kind of focusing on those when I talk about what we're ranked at in polls and things like that each week. Those are the ones I'm going to focus on. So just a little bit behind the curtain for me and what I do when it comes to ranking stuff and what I consider. But again, Inside Lacrosse announced their All-American list. Carolina had four lacrosse players represented there. Owen Duffy and Brady Wambach were preseason first team All-American by Inside Lacrosse. Don Pietramala and Ty English came in with honorable mentions. So those honors again keep rolling. They keep rolling in. Another men's lacrosse thing, ACC announced their preseason All-ACC teams this week, and we had a trio announced. We had a trio that found their way on that team. Owen Duffy, Dominic Pietramala, Brady Wambach again were all named preseason All-ACC men's lacrosse. Excuse me. Carolina, noteworthy, was picked third in the ACC in the preseason ACC coaches poll. When the preseason stuff comes out like that, they'll announce the preseason coaches poll, and then they'll announce the preseason All ACC teams. So that's generally how that works. But yeah, third in the preseason poll, behind Syracuse and Notre Dame. So ACC is usually pretty strong in men's lacrosse. I talked about it last week. I mentioned it last week, I believe, that this is our best team and our best shot at it in a while. So I'm really looking forward to men's lacrosse this year and seeing what they can do, because I think we can make some major noise from a national standpoint. USILA preseason poll came out. Again, the poll that I generally follow once season kicks off when it comes to men's lacrosse. Carolina came in number 8 ranked in that poll. And of note, 10 programs, we're facing 10 programs slated to face right now on our schedule, 10 programs that are currently ranked in the top 20. You know, that's a number 2 Syracuse, a number 3 Penn State, or number 3 Princeton, number 6 Notre Dame, number 7 Penn State, number 11 Duke, 12 Army, 13 Harvard, 14 Virginia, 15 Towson, which is not going to happen now, obviously, based on the cancellation, and then a number 17 Johns Hopkins. So the schedule is stacked. Yet and still, like I said, I think they're going to make. I really would be surprised if we don't make some noise there and battle for a national championship. Quite honestly, that's just my quick look and kind of take on how this season might play out. Hopefully, so we've definitely got the team to do it. So we shall see. You know, stay tuned week by week, and we'll talk about it along the journey. And then also the USILA announced their preseason All-America honors. Stop me if you've heard this. Owen Duffy, Brady Wambach, first team All-American preseason. Dominic Pietramala, second team. Peter Thoman, third team. Haven't seen Peter's name in any of the other preseason stuff that have come out from like Inside Lacrosse and USA Lacrosse, even the All ACC stuff. So this is the first time we've seen Peter's name. Third team though, preseason All-America by USILA. So turning the page to some fencing, and there was actually fencing action this week. Last week we were supposed to fence. We were supposed to take part in the Johns Hopkins Invitational last week. Did not do that due to weather. I missed touching on that last week. Sorry about that. But we did add a meet to the our invitational event to the schedule for this past weekend. It actually took place up in Staten Island. The Brian Palestis Memorial Invitational. Did really well on that. Women's team, the women's fencing team, the USFCA NCAA Division I midseason poll that came out in the middle of January, which is the latest poll that's come out. Women's fencing is number 15. Men's fencing team here at Carolina, number 14 in that same poll. And it was a really good weekend, or a really good day up there. Notably through the weekend, our fencing head coach Matt Jednak got his 200th career win, a regular season win at Carolina. We did go 8-2 combined on the day. So let's run through those real quick. Again, 15th women, 14th men. The women took on and took down number 10 ranked Penn State, 22-5. The men took down number 9 ranked Penn State, 18-9. Women took down Wagner, 22-5. Men did the same to Wagner, 17-10. Women took down number 13 ranked St. John's, 18-9. The men took a loss, 19-8 to St. John's. St. John's men ranked number 6. The women then took down number 8 Penn, 15-2. The men lost one to number 7 Penn, the number 7 Penn men, Penn men, 11-6, 11-16. I'm sorry. I got so caught up in my joke I can't read. And then we closed it out with Vassar. The women defeated Vassar 23-4. The women defeated Vassar 23-4. The men turned around and defeated the Vassar men 24-3. So if you're looking at that, the women went undefeated on the weekend. The men lost two top 10 opponents, but also got some ranked wins themselves as they took down number 9. And yeah, so that's some good stuff there. Fencing, sneaky good if you're not if you don't keep up with it or pay attention to it. But to re-rank 14th and 15th for women's and men's or men's and women's respectively, that's good stuff. And they've got some more going on, more fencing going on this coming weekend. On the national stage, though, one thing of note, freshman Youssef Shamel finished 3rd. He was competing in the Junior Epee World Cup in Cairo, Egypt. Finished 3rd in that event and took down a number 1 ranked fencer from Notre Dame, and then another ACC fencer from Boston College. On the way to that number 3 finish, that bronze medal finish in the Junior Epee World Cup. So, congrats to Youssef on that. Get back to Carolina, back in events, back in the fold. But good job on the national stage. So, and so that's that. Baseball had a few scrimmages this week. Second week of scrimmages for baseball, Wednesday and Thursday. There was from what I read, there was supposed to be one on Friday, but I did not see any info. Oh no, wait a minute, it was canceled. Never mind. There was initially supposed to be one on Friday, a third scrimmage this week, but that Friday scrimmage got canceled. So, and there's a TBD on the next scrimmage for baseball. Season is almost here though. We're about ready to we're about ready to get rolling on the season. So in less than 2 weeks. Again, cannot wait. I can't wait for that. So that's going to be good. But just some kind of highlights there. Really, according to the notes, had the notes I saw had a long scrimmage on Wednesday. Lee Sowers had a home run, went 2 for 4 with 4 RBI and a run scored. Rom Kellis, the fifth, RK5 as I like to call him, 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs scored. Both of his base hits were extra bases. One was a home run, one was a double. So Rom was a guy last year that I was really, just based off of his fall and spring last year, or spring and fall last year, I really was expecting, or fall, I was really expecting to see some good stuff out of Rom. And I really feel like we're gonna, I feel like Rom came on at the end of the season, and I feel like the best is certainly right around the corner and about to roll. Is about to roll now. So hopefully that's just a sign of things to come. For that Wednesday scrimmage, though, other offensive highlights: AJ Terry, Owen Hull had extra base hits. Terry was 2 for 3 with a run scored. Owen Hull 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run scored. Jake Schaffner had a double in that one. Schaffner and Owen Hull transfers, 2 people I'm really high on for this year. Owen Hull now in center field. My daughter has now, since Vance is gone and Luke is gone, she has designated Owen as her favorite player on the team right now, other than a pitcher, her favorite every day. So she's always been a big Jason DeCaro fan. So, but as far as everyday players go, Owen Hull is the one that is now been designated as her favorite player. So I apologize to Owen in advance. Pitching highlights for that one. 6 pitchers saw some action. DeCaro, Folger Boaz, Caden Glauber, the freshman, Ryan Lynch, Jackson Rose, and Chewy all through. Boaz, 5 scoreless innings, struck out 5, walked just 1, and gave up 2 hits, just base hits. Caden Glauber threw 3 scoreless, struck out 3, gave up only 1 hit. Jackson Rose, no runs, 2 innings, struck out 3, only gave up a hit. So, the great thing about these scrimmages, and we saw it, these scrimmages as well as the fall ball and the fall World Series stuff, you saw it where we're, really using it, which is what you would expect, but really getting our arms a chance, getting the arm barn, as we call it, getting the arm barn working and getting a lot of guys in there and getting some action. So, that's, you love to see it, and it's an invaluable thing along the way as we go. Thursday, 7-inning scrimmage on Thursday. It was really cold too Thursday, by the way. So that was, one of the joys of baseball in the winter, or baseball starting off when it's still in the winter. Obviously, I saw a picture of a season opener from some school in Charleston, West Virginia, I think, and it was I retweeted it, I think, this week on Twitter yesterday or something, and it's snow just coming down. Was it 3 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago? Not our opening weekend, but our second weekend of the season. I think it was our second series of the season, second weekend. Our Saturday game was really cold, and there were snow flurries in Bosch, at the Bosch for that. That was, I like snow. That was fun. A lot of people were cold, but yeah. Hey, I digress. Thursday scrimmage. Eric Paulson, transfer first baseman, hit a home run to right center. He was 2 for 3, 2 RBI and a run scored. Freshman Tyler Howe, I think, is going to be is going to make some noise this year and give us some production. Had multiple base hits. He went 2 for 4 and an RBI. Lee Sowers drove in 2 runs with a pair of sac flies, and Sawyer Black had a double in that one. which was the only other extra base hit there. Pitcher highlights. Again, a lot of pitchers going. 6 pitchers through. Matty Mateus, Kyle Percival, 2 guys coming back off injury, and glad they're back for another year. Cam Padgett, Amos Rich, Talon Holiday, Cam Seagraves. Amos threw 2 scoreless hitless innings. Struck out 2, walked none. Talon Holiday retired all 5 batters he faced in 1 2/3, struck out 1, and Matty gave up only 1 run in 2 innings. So, good work getting them into the game and getting things going. So, can't wait. Like I said, don't know if there's going to be any other scrimmages. They're TBD on that one. We'll talk about them hopefully if they do. But the season is right around the corner. We're less than 2 weeks out for that one. That's it for any of the really kind of action on stuff. There were some other notable things that I want to mention in here as we go. Excuse me. So on Tuesday, the Naismith Women's College Defensive Player of the Year watch list came out. And India Navarre, our own India Navarre, is on that watch list. So, congratulations to India on that. The field hockey, several of the all-ACC academic teams came out this week for fall sports. So, first of those, field hockey, all-ACC academic team came out. 7 Tar Heels on that team. Sietske Bruning, Molly Catchpole, Coco Courtwright, Sana Hawk, Hope Haynes, Danny Mendez, and Grace Potabom. So congrats to y'all on the work in the classroom on that one. Women's soccer, all ACC academic team came out. 10 Tar Heels on that team. Avon Alvarez, Eden Bretzer, Tessa Della Rose, Bella Debbie, Kate Fossey, Bella Gattino, Hannah Johan, Caitlin Mara, Hope Munson, Ashley Penny. Congratulations on all the hard work in the classroom to those folks. Women's soccer. Another women's soccer note or thing of interest. Schools, the Carolina and head coach Damon Nahas announced this past weekend, in fact, that yesterday, I believe it was, Saturday, that the 12 players that make up our incoming class for 2026 are ranked the number one recruiting class by the Top Drawer Soccer publication. So, that's women's soccer. We talked about it. This season was an off season, and it really wasn't. It was really one of those things that it happens. We had some injuries, we had some national team stuff that folks were participating in. It's one of the things about some of these sports like this that have national teams going on. You see it in field hockey, you see it in lacrosse, you see it in soccer. Some of that overlap season. And so it bit us a little bit in soccer this past year along with the injuries, but obviously it did not hurt recruiting. And Coach Nahas has done a tremendous job. So can't wait to get those 12 ladies into Chapel Hill and get them going and getting us back to where we're accustomed to being, which is not only ranked, but ranked high and competing for national titles. So we'll see. I have every bit of faith in the program and the staff and the players that this year was just one of those. This year was an aberration. It was an anomaly, and we're not going to see it. Not going to see it next year and going forward. So, men's soccer all ACC academic team this past week was announced. 6 Heels on that list. Riley Burge, Andrew Cordes, Dylan Kropp, John McDowell, Parker O'Farrell, and Bertel Rygard Hansen. All made the team there, recognizing their work in the classroom. So, again, congrats on all the hard work. It's a tough thing. These honors to me are some of my favorites, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's tough, and I didn't do it myself at the college level, but knowing people that did it at Carolina and have done it at other schools, it's tough to balance. It's really tough to balance. You've got, you got to keep up with work as you're traveling and you're missing class. You still got to keep up with stuff. And so, just you really want to, I really especially want to make sure that I highlight and call out the work that these folks that get these recognitions are doing. Cross country had a couple conference as well as national academic recognitions this past week. For the ACC, the all ACC academic teams for cross country, we had, and I don't want to get this wrong. Maddie Gardner and Aiden Neal were all ACC. Logan St. John Cletter was also all ACC academic. And then the women's, the way, and then rolling to the nationals, the national awards. The United States Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association does, what they do is they do all academic athletes, which is, essentially all academic team stuff, but they have also all academic teams, which is, GPA for the collective team has to meet a certain thing. It's a cumulative 3.0 on a 4.0 scale for that. The Carolina women's cross country was designated and did earn a national all academic team honor. And then as far as the individual athletes that earned all academic athlete honors by the USTF CCCA, Vera Schoberg, Colton Sands, and Tomer Tarragano were there. Logan St. John Cletter as well. So again, national and ACC levels of recognition for academic excellence. Congrats to y'all on all that work, putting in the work in the classroom, and again, balancing it so effectively to be able to do both. The last one on the all ACC academic stuff that came out this past week was for volleyball. Zoe Barrett, Julia Bollinger, Sophie Hampton, Lauren Shutter, Jackie Taylor, all named to the all ACC volleyball academic team. Again, congrats to y'all. My favorite team, but with wrestling and baseball, but my favorite team's at Carolina, for sure. I've said it before. I'll always say it. So especially proud of them for that work. Congrats to y'all on that. A couple other things that came out this week. Well, we already touched on women's tennis, again, remained number 3 in that ITA coaches poll. Men's tennis is not ranked at this point. Women's gymnastics, there is men's gymnastics in the NCAA. We don't have it. Gymnastics moved up from 13 to 12. Again, remember, take the loss. The rankings for, and this is the other thing of note, in case you're not aware, the rankings for gymnastics aren't based on wins and losses. It's actually based on scores. So the higher, your scores go up, you're basically your total team scores each week, you get the averages, and that's what moves your ranking up and down. So if you have a really high score, that's going to high score one week, that's going to play into your average that moves your ranking up and down. So it's a different kind of ranking system. It's not a coach's poll type vote type thing. But that's in, and so we'll see where they go this week. Like I said, in the 196.375 was our score this past week. I don't remember what our average was. I think our average is a little above that, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see how that plays out when those rankings come out. I think they usually come out Mondays or Tuesdays. And y'all, that is it for not so fast. The USTF CCA, like I said, it's the United States Track and Field Cross Country Coaches Association, does some weird rankings too that are rating index type things. Both our indoor teams, men's and women's, in the first Track and Field Ratings Index checkpoint came in at number 35 on both those. We had some individual event squads, as they call them, that place in there. So going forward, I'll make note of those and pass those along. We had the women's mile, and men's mile, all and a few of the other things all factored in there and all actually placed pretty high in like top 10-ish areas in the checkpoint for the event squad stuff. I'll make sure I'll make note of those going forward so I can actually give you the details on those and not just, hey, we were in there. Because like I said, it breaks it down and continues to highlight the work of these teams that, you know, that people don't see enough of and that I'm trying to bring to light, which is the whole point of this podcast. That's this week. That's this past week. Could have been busier if it wasn't for some of the things that canceled and postponed. But as I go through it now, this is the upcoming week, and it is packed, which means if I am able to record next week because of, the volleyball allows me to record, it's going to be it's going to be a packed one. It's going to take me a while. But again, that's all going to depend on what happens we're in Virginia Beach next week next weekend for a tournament, travel on Friday afternoon, play Saturday, Sunday. Who knows when we get back Sunday night, you know, I'll do my best to prep throughout the week on this, but there's a lot of weekend stuff that I'm not going to be able to prep for. Maybe it's a case that I decide to record on a Monday and put it out Monday. Maybe I do a live stream on Monday night. I don't know. I'm kind of playing with some different ideas on how I want things to run. If there's things I can do different, if you see it, if you're listening to this, hit me up in the comments. Give me some ideas. Something you might want to see on a live, me to do a live stream of it instead of a recording on cases like that on Sundays where I can't necessarily get to it because of volleyball tournaments, which is going to be an issue off and on through the end of April. Through the end of April for me right now, and maybe even May if we make a national tournament and our club our team makes a national tournament in Ohio, which is a possibility. So we'll have to see how that plays. But I'm just trying to figure out the best thing I can do to bring the content to people, to y'all, and if y'all want to hear it, I want to be able to talk about it for you. So continuation though on with this week, women's golf is still at the Puerto Rico Classic. Was supposed to be day 2 of 3 on today, Monday, is teeing off, like I said, at 7:30. It's going to be the final day, though, because of moving up the schedules like they had to. Women's basketball will be at State Reynolds Coliseum, the unfriendly confines, 6 p.m. tonight, Monday night. It's going to be televised on ESPNU. Nothing on Tuesday. Wednesday, swimming and diving is hosting the UNC Invitational. I believe that's the advertised start time on that is 5 p.m. according to the schedule. You might want to check out Go Heels for any updates to that goes. But like I said, when I was looking at today, when I was looking at it before recording, 5 o'clock was what was on there. Thursday the 5th. Men's golf kicks off their season in Hawaii at the Amare Ari Invitational. That is going to be a 3-day event. Men's tennis back in action after some cancellations against Furman at 3 p.m. at home on Thursday at the Cheney Tennis Center. Softball kicks off their season on Thursday, 4:30 against St. Joe's in Burlington. Swimming and diving again on Thursday, second day of the UNC Invite at home in Corey Natatorium. And women's basketball is back in action. Quick turnaround from Monday to Thursday at home in Carmichael against Clemson, 6 p.m. tip, ACC Network. Friday continues the men's golf Amare Ari Invite. That's a lot. That's a lot of A's. The alliteration is killing me. Day 2 there in Hawaii. Track and field, like I said, has now got that split, that tri-split kind of event. However the squad splits up for indoor track and field. We've got the Windy City Invite in Chicago on Friday, the Doc Hale Elite in Blacksburg on Friday, and the JDL Camel City Invite in Winston on Friday. the Doc Hale Elite and the JDL Camel City are annual things. We do them every year. It's at least the last 5 or 6 years when I've really been paying attention to everything more and more in depth. That's those are names I always see coming in there. So that's on Friday. Those kicking off. Women's tennis, the ITA National Team Indoor Championships kick off. I have not seen a schedule on that, so just know that it's a weekend thing that's paid to take place, and then we will stay tuned, I guess, to either to my Twitter feed, stay tuned to my Twitter feed, JSB Tar Heel 95, or GoHeels.com, or the women's tennis Twitter account, Facebook account, Instagram account. All that stuff will keep updated as far as between now and when I talk to you next, as far as when the action is going to take place and against who for those indoor national team championships. Swimming and diving swimming and diving now is diving invite, Virginia Tech diving invite in Blacksburg. That's again on Friday. Softball, second of the season. It's a doubleheader on Friday for softball. And the weekend opener basically for them. Radford at noon in Burlington for softball. Swimming and diving also back with the UNC invite at home in Corey Natatorium. Softball, second of the Friday doubleheaders against James Madison at 5 p.m. in Burlington. And then wrestling is going to take on Duke, 7 p.m., Carmichael Auditorium, broadcast on ACC Network Extra, and that is an alumni night for wrestling. So that one I won't be able to make. I don't see us canceling our tournament this weekend. I hope we don't have any more winter weather this weekend. And I can get to Virginia Beach. So that's Friday. Saturday, Saturday's got women's tennis again, continuation of the ITA National Team Indoor Championships taking place over the weekend. Men's golf closing out the trip to Hawaii with the Amar Ari invite. That's day 3 of that event. Indoor track and field again, split Windy City invite in Chicago, Doc Hale Elite in Blacksburg, JDL Camel City invite in Winston. Fencing is actually taking part in the Beguinay Classic in Durham. Yep. All right. That's a tricky. I'm not good with the French. But not good with the French pronunciations. But fencing will be back in action in Durham. There on Saturday and Sunday, actually, and we're going to be at home on Sunday. I give it away, but yeah. So couple different things going on. Fencing, swimming and diving is going to continue on Saturday with the Virginia Tech diving invite in Blacksburg. Women's lacrosse and men's lacrosse finally get their seasons kicked off. Men's lacrosse against Jacksonville at home. Excuse me, at home at noon, and it's going to be broadcast on ACC Network Extra. Women's lacrosse at JMU at noon on ESPN Plus. So men's and women's lacrosse kick off their seasons both at the same time. So get 2 computers and put them side by side, or however you want to do it. 2 TVs with the ESPN app side by side. You're good to go. Softball continuing on the opening weekend. Little tournament deal that's going on apparently in Burlington. So Saturday, that's at 2:30 against UConn for softball, again in Burlington. And that brings us to Sunday. So women's tennis, the ITA National Team Indoor Championships, still playing out there. Fencing will be at home in the Eddie Smith Fieldhouse for the Miller Invite. Swimming and diving, again, continuing with the VT diving invite up in Blacksburg. Men's tennis at home, Cheating Tennis Center at noon against Princeton. Women's basketball, 3 women's basketball games this coming week. What's that? Monday, Thursday, and then Sunday will be at Wake on Sunday, 2 p.m. That's going to be broadcast on ACC Network. Softball closes out the opening weekend against Elon at 2:30 in Burlington. And gymnastics back on the mats, the equipment to take on State at State in Reynolds 4 p.m. That's always a good one. State gymnastics is usually pretty good. So it's always a good battle there. Most of the Carolina State stuff is, quite honestly. So looking forward to those. Good weeks there. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, it's really off now. It's really off now. It kind of thing I can say is buckle up, because I said it before, but it evidenced by the long list of things I just read through for what's coming on, or what's coming up. We're really in for it now. We're really going to be in for it now as things kick up. And that's all I think I've got. That's all I think I've got this week. I'm looking real quick. Almost forgot my season openers. So anyway, so now, last thing, definitely last thing here. 40 days till rowing kicks off. 11 days till baseball back in the Bosch. 5 days for 5 days for men's lacrosse, 5 days for women's lacrosse, 3 days for men's golf, 3 days for softball. Yep. So things are coming. Like I said, that's a long list of things coming up. A lot going on. Can't wait to keep talking about it and get more in depth with y'all. Appreciate y'all, everything. Hit the subscribe. If you're not, hit the like. Like this, share it with your friends, get the word out about this. Let's try to get the viewers up on it, so more people can hear about the great wealth of teams we have and success we have in the Olympic sports here at Carolina. Everybody loves the footballs and the basketballs, but but we've got so much. I keep saying it. I say it all the time. So much to be thankful for, and really revel in how well we do in a lot of things. So put the word out there for me, man. For y'all, share it out on your socials, tell your friends, things like that. Things you want to hear more of, things you want to hear less of. Again, make the comments here on YouTube to the stuff, and let me know what you like, what you don't like, all that stuff. And we'll keep doing it. So, if you're not aware, also the other thing, Nathan stepped away. We've done a couple videos. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it on this one. We've done a couple videos the last couple of days, did a video and actually had a 11:45 Saturday night into Sunday morning live stream after Nathan saw the video, the thank you video that Alan put together, with a bunch of folks. Alan put that stuff together for his brother. Nathan saw that, and then we did a kind of impromptu live stream. So as I think we've said in that, but just so you know, bear with us, I will say, because Nathan was the one that did all the production on these, post-production on these videos, and edited them, threw the pieces on, and then posting them. So Alan and I are learning that stuff now, and we've got to learn to do it. So bear with us. If it takes another day or so to get stuff out, sometimes we'll try to let people know on socials what's going on, so y'all can stay engaged and know that we're still trying to work to put the content out. But it's gonna be a process. So we're gonna keep working on it, because like I said, we're really invested in bringing Carolina to all y'all out there, and we'll just have to work out a little bit. So, but we'll still be here, and we're still trying to talk about Carolina stuff with all y'all, and like I said, bear with us, and we'll get it out there. So, thank y'all again. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. Appreciate you. And as always, go Heels.